Ora, gambare, gambare.
Sauda-oi, a 19-year-old university student, spends his day cheerfully handing out sausage samples in a supermarket, enthusiastically explaining how they can make meals like curries and stir-fries tastier for kids. As he interacts with customers, a young boy tries a sample and loves it, and the boy's response attracts loads of other customers. Later, as the day winds down, Sauda's manager thanks him for his hard work. He responds humbly, saying it's important to be helpful and credits her for teaching him everything. Reflecting on how good he is with his words, he shares that he once struggled but gradually improved through different part-time jobs. Sauda smiles when the manager compliments his customer service skills. After two coworkers stop by to say goodbye, he becomes nervous, and once they leave, the manager teases him about being bad at talking to girls. Embarrassed, Sauda scratches his head, saying he gets nervous only around regular women, not customers. The manager laughs, asking if he even wants to talk to girls before saying she has a favor to ask him. The manager suddenly leans closer and asks Sauda if he'd be interested in transferring to a parallel world. Startled, he stammers that he's heard about that kind of thing but never seriously. Calmly, she explains that he'll be sent to another world to save it. Confused, Sauda tries to understand, but before he can react, she draws a strange weapon as a glowing circle appears beneath them. Alarmed, Sauda demands an explanation, but she introduces herself as Nostra, the Sage of Prophecy, and tells him to use his attributes to the fullest. Despite his protests, she ignores him. A blinding flash consumes everything, and Sauda wakes up in a completely different world. Still dazed, he takes in his surroundings when a soldier in heavy armor appears and asks if he's the hero who was summoned. Surrounded by magic light, Sauda realizes he's really been transported. When he hesitates to answer, the soldier threatens him, and Sauda panics, shouting that he's not a hero. The soldier slams his weapon near Sauda's legs, demanding to know about the magic circle and his strange clothes. Terrified, Sauda tries to stay calm, deciding to use his communication skills. He nervously jokes about fashion trends, claiming his clothes are common in a southern seaside country. He says that these type of clothes are popular in southern climate as they protect the skin from hot sun and are breathable as well. The soldier ponders this, mumbling that a hero wouldn't talk to a demon so casually or be that scrawny, then wonders aloud if the real hero escaped. Sauda can't believe his bluff worked and quickly asks if he can leave. Before he can go, the head demon removes the helmet, revealing she's actually a very pretty girl named Fafnir, commander of the Demon King's army. Shocked, Sauda stammers as she orders her soldiers to take him to the demon castle. Soon, he finds himself locked in a cell inside the Demon King's palace, baffled by how his summoning turned into instant capture. Throwing a tantrum about how heroes in stories usually get summoned by kings and make friends before fighting the demon lord, he's silenced by a guard's shout. Sauda is determined to survive. He decides to focus on staying alive first. Spotting his bag in the corner, he's relieved it came with him, until he realizes his phone and tablet are broken, and the rest of his belongings are useless. Frustrated, he shakes the bag, yelling that he deserves something special now that he's in another world. Suddenly, a book appears before him. Carefully picking it up, he reads the title The Abyss Book and feels a flicker of hope, thinking it's a powerful artifact. But when he opens it, he finds his old elementary school notebook filled with doodles of weapons and monsters from RPGs. This makes him lose his calm, and he gets extremely embarrassed yet curious. He notices a line saying that saying a name will make the item appear. Though hesitant at first, he tries it, calling for an infinite water bottle, and one actually materializes. Amazed, Sauda drinks from it, realizing that whatever he names comes true, though his elementary school imagination limits the results. He wonders if the items can be stored, deciding to test more later. Before he can, Fafnir appears again and takes him to a torture room. Sitting anxiously in a chair, Sauda watches her approach, struck by how adorable she looks without the helmet. Her horns and tail only make him more nervous. Trying to steady himself, he reminds himself to treat her like a customer. When she starts questioning him, he accidentally gives an overly long name before quickly adding that everyone calls him Sauda. Suspicious, Fafnir demands to know why he was at the church's restricted area, the exact spot where the hero of the human nation was summoned. Slamming her weapon in the ground, she tells him she hates liars. She explains that they had intel about the hero and attacked for that reason. Realizing he could be killed if he says the wrong thing, Sauda carefully asks why they're hunting the hero. Fafnir explains that heroes attack demons without mercy, and she's sworn to protect the demon world by killing the hero before he reaches their castle. She tells him to reveal his true identity, as she has done the same on his demand as well. Understanding the danger, Sauda quickly fabricates a story, saying he collects rare items for a general store and demonstrates by summoning another object. Shocked, Fafnir watches as the item appears from thin air. He nervously adds that he came to deliver a special item used to summon the hero, a precious stone shattered in the ritual. She seems to believe him, her attention shifting to the spell book he's holding. As she steps closer, Sauda's heart races out of nervousness. Trying to keep calm, he explains that the Abyss book can reveal a person's heart, personality, and skills, calling it a sort of guidebook. Flipping through the pages, he awkwardly reads aloud an oddly detailed profile of Fafnir that looks more like a character guide for elementary school girls, desperately trying to sound convincing as the interrogation continues. Fafnir suddenly snatches the book from Sauda's hands. Turning away, she examines it and becomes annoyed that she cannot understand a word. Sauda is surprised she doesn't know Japanese, but before he can argue, Fafnir starts shouting at him for making a fool of her since she doesn't know what's actually written in the book. Fafnir grows furious again and raises her weapon to strike Sauda. As she swings the dagger, a necklace-type mark appears around his neck instead of harming him. Shocked, Sauda listens as Fafnir explains that the mark prevents him from lying, and any attempt would activate it and kill him instantly. Coldly, she demands to know his identity. Instead of answering, Sauda asks if she has a problem with her body odor, catching Fafnir off guard. Flustered, she explains that everything about her is in the book. Sauda then pulls out an item from his magic notebook, claiming it will solve her smell problem. Fafnir dislikes the strange product name, but Sauda reminds her not to focus on that, and explains how he invented it as a child to deal with his own embarrassing odor. Still skeptical, Fafnir listens as Sauda fully shifts into customer service mode, asking if she worries about sweating in heavy armor or being mocked for odor. He assures her the cream eliminates odor-causing microorganisms, is fragrance-free, and leaves no residue. Though she doesn't fully understand, his confident tone convinces her it might work. Sauda offers the cream for free if she trusts him. Fafnir questions why he would be kind to a demon, and Sauda calmly replies that he is a businessman who treats humans and demons alike. Confident in his sincerity, he ensures the magical mark won't activate, and when nothing happens, Fafnir accepts his honesty. At his urging, she agrees to take the cream. When Fafnir insists on trying it immediately but refuses to set down her weapon, Sauda is caught off guard when she demands he apply it. She removes her heavy armor, expecting him to proceed. Nervous, Sauda hesitates and Fafnir's patience wears thin. With an intimidating glare, she accuses him of lying and he panics, quickly agreeing and pleading for mercy. Sauda rubs cream onto his hand but doubts himself, recalling his inexperience with girls. He steadies himself by remembering his brief massage parlor work. Fafnir warns him to behave, reminding him that a single wrong move could be fatal. Trembling, he applies the cream to her underarm. She flinches at the cold but gradually relaxes, clearly pleased as the odor fades. Sauda, guilt-ridden, reminds himself it is part of surviving in this strange world. Fafnir calmly lifts her other arm. Reluctantly, Sauda moves in, shutting his eyes to avoid looking. When he opens them, he is shocked by the situation. He finds out that he has accidentally grabbed her melon, and seeing such a blunder, he starts apologizing repeatedly. Fafnir, focused on the results, notices the smell is gone and that Sauda's claims were accurate. Confused, Sauda checks the book and sees the cream's description notes it removes odor but makes the person temporarily sensitive. He feels grateful for his younger self's ingenuity, which helped him survive. Sauda is returned to the cell, where Fafnir explains he will remain imprisoned for some time. Disappointed, he asks if she still doubts him, but she clarifies it's because of a powerful item he possesses that could be deadly for demons, so she must keep him alive. She says that she does not want to kill him without any reason, and he reminds her how she was rushing to take off his head. Fafnir first claims it is his own fault, but then thanks him for the cream and leaves. Sauda nearly collapses in relief, happy to have survived his first day. Alone, Sauda reflects on the vast differences between humans and demons. Fafnir, meanwhile, does not understand Sauda's strange personality. In the cell, Sauda notices a likability column in the book, which tracks others' feelings toward him. Realizing that raising someone's affection to the maximum can make them an ally, he recalls his summoning and capture by the Demon King's soldiers. Now aware that survival relies on skill and allies, he understands his first goal is to make many allies to eventually return home. Back in elementary school, Sauda was already a master at doodling all sorts of silly and creative things in his notebook. His talent caught the attention of a girl from his class, who immediately gushed over his unique creations and quickly became his crush. However, Sauda's heart was broken when he later discovered that she had mocked his drawings to her friends. To protect himself from future heartbreak, he invented a see-through spell book designed to reveal people's true feelings. Unfortunately, this clever invention did nothing to help with his girl troubles. Now in junior high, that embarrassing notebook was safely tucked away, serving as a cringy reminder of his elementary school days. Ironically, he now has the same book in his hand in this world, though with a different name, and he still can't believe it was transferred here along with him. Sauda has no idea why this book has become his only power in this world, and finds it incredibly embarrassing, but he knows he must make use of it. He recalls that the manager told him he would go to another world to save it, but he still has no understanding of what exactly he is supposed to do. Resolving to focus on finding a way back to his own world, he acknowledges that since he reached the demon castle immediately after being summoned, he has no information about this world. At this moment, he sets two clear goals. First, to find strong allies, and second, to gather all the information he can about this world. While pondering how to raise Fafnir's lickability, she suddenly whispers in his ear, startling him. She casually remarks that it's his fault for not noticing her presence. Seeing her, Sauda remembers that she was the one who brought him to the demon castle and that he had seen her profile just yesterday. According to all the information, she is a very responsible person, kind, and always willing to listen to his arguments, even though he is technically her enemy. On top of all that, she is incredibly adorable. Sauda quickly reminds himself that she is merely a customer, so he shouldn't have any inappropriate thoughts toward her. However, seeing his weird expression, Fafnir becomes suspicious that he might be planning something toward her, causing her lickability toward him to drop. The mark on his neck suddenly appears again as Fafnir repeats that from now on he will never be able to lie to her, and if he attempts to lie, he will be killed instantly. Desperately, Sauda tries to think of a good excuse, realizing the mark makes lying impossible. Scratching his head nervously, he feels the need to gain the trust of his customers. Struggling to speak properly has been a problem since elementary school, especially since the mark on his neck has just now activated. Fafnir, however, is assured he is telling the truth and proceeds to open the cell, stating that his punishment has been decided. Outside the castle, Sauda finds himself dragging a huge metal ball tied to his foot, struggling immensely. Fafnir scolds him for being slow, claiming that his delay is making them late. Frustrated, Sauda loudly insists he is not running away and demands that she remove the ball. Initially, Fafnir insists that the ball is part of the rules, but upon seeing his struggle, she casually lifts the heavy metal ball with just one hand. Sauda is genuinely impressed by her incredible strength. Fafnir explains that during training they are accustomed to lifting such weights. Sauda praises her, saying that this must be why she holds the position of captain of the Dragon Corps. While juggling the heavy ball in her hand, Fafnir comments that she isn't happy to hear praise from a mere human. Despite her words, Sauda notices her tail wagging slightly, betraying her pleasure. Walking through the dim corridors of the demon castle, Sauda is astonished. He had expected a typical dungeon, but the atmosphere is strange. Everything is dark and gloomy, with no clear sense of whether it is morning or afternoon. Observing his surroundings, he comments on how it feels as dark as night. Fafnir explains that the human lands are usually bright, but the demon world is perpetually dim without sunlight. Finally, they arrive at a room where Sauda will stay, and Fafnir informs him that he will now serve as her personal servant. Sauda is shocked and unsure of what this entails. Fafnir explains that after consulting with the Demon King, they decided that making him her servant would be the easiest way to keep an eye on him. Sauda still has no clue what his duties involve, so Fafnir adds that he will assist her with various tasks. Nervous, he immediately opens a book to find information about the demon world, but to his dismay, the book is written in an unknown language. While skimming the pages, he is surprised to see a picture of his manager. Fafnir notices his interest and explains that it is Nostra. She is surprised that he already knows about her. Fafnir goes on to describe Nostra as extremely powerful, with immense magical abilities that allow her to travel between worlds. Due to her unpredictable nature, only a few people have ever seen her true form, and countless myths about her have circulated for generations. Fafnir also explains that Nostra left behind an ancient prophecy stating that when the world falls into disaster due to war, a hero will be summoned to save it. The location where Fafnir first found Sauda, inside a church, is the same place mentioned in Nostra's prophecy, which explains why they went there. At that time, Fafnir worried that the coming war would be difficult, but she won the battle easily, as humans are weak and most heroes end up fleeing. While talking, Fafnir leans closer to Sauda. He immediately notices her pleasant scent, long eyelashes, and delicate features, causing his body to tremble. Accidentally touching her again, he quickly bows and apologizes repeatedly. Fafnir misinterprets his reaction, thinking he is acting intentionally, and her lickability drops further. Sauda, confused, insists he would never act that way intentionally, but his words backfire, and Fafnir scolds him again for calling her a girl. Before she can attack him, the room goes dark as the lamp runs out of oil. Fafnir murmurs about the lamp, stating she will fix it later, and leaves. Seizing the opportunity to regain her lickability, Sauda pulls out his notebook and calls out, "Sunny sun, come out." Instantly, a radiant sun appears, filling the room with brilliant, warm light. Fafnir is visibly impressed. Sauda explains that he created the item after hearing his mother complain about rainy weather preventing laundry from drying. The sun is practical, versatile, capable of drying clothes, warming a room, and lighting dark spaces. Fafnir remarks that it feels like real sunlight, amazed that such a small item could illuminate even the darkest corners of the demon world. She smiles, feeling genuinely happy, a light sweat forming on her skin. Sauda observes her quietly, noting how peaceful and content she looks, and recalls the pet shop where reptiles needed sunlight to stay healthy. Suspicious, he asks if she's feeling anything particular. Fafnir admits she's been feeling unusually low lately, a lingering sadness. Sauda suggests fatigue and explains how the lack of sunlight might cause a vitamin D deficiency, affecting her bones, metabolism, and overall well-being. Fafnir listens with interest, though much of it goes over her head, and smiles again at the artificial sun. Curious, she asks if it can boost ability values, which flusters Sauda. He shifts the topic, wondering why he's sweating. Fafnir points out the sun's heat, making him realize his metabolism is overactive. Attempting casual conversation, he comments that in some countries, people sunbathe unclothed in private. Sauda mentions that sunlight is more effective on bare skin, prompting Fafnir to begin unbuttoning her shirt. Shocked, Sauda turns away, flustered, asking why. Fafnir calmly explains that she must absorb the sunlight efficiently to restore her strength, both physically and mentally, while maintaining her image before subordinates and the Demon King. Following her instructions, Sauda holds the sun higher while keeping his eyes shut. After a few minutes, he asks how she feels. Fafnir replies her body feels warm and lighter, as if sunlight is clearing away everything negative. Relieved, Sauda continues holding the sun carefully, sweating from the heat himself. Fafnir expresses that she wants even more sunlight, prompting Sauda to raise the brightness further. Both start sweating heavily, thickening the room's humidity. Fafnir remarks that the sheets are soaked with sweat. Sauda summons a sponge he created long ago, which absorbs moisture perfectly, refreshing Fafnir while leaving him pale and exhausted. After resting and rehydrating, he regains some energy, and Fafnir, energized, shows her liability toward him has risen to 10%. Excited, Sauda beams. Pleased with his help, Fafnir declares she has found the perfect job for him, opening a shop in the demon castle. She notes that his inventions are surprisingly suitable for demon life. Sauda hesitates, doubting his ability to attract customers, and nervously asks if she would introduce his inventions to others. Fafnir raises an eyebrow but agrees to consider it. Sauda expresses genuine gratitude, explaining that he wants to help demons like her without pressure. She casually mentions her room is next to his and instructs him not to disturb her unless something unusual happens. Left alone, Sauda reflects on his success and the way their relationship has developed. Suddenly, as Fafnir exits, a cheerful demon girl wraps her arms around Fafnir from behind. Fafnir protests, but the girl ignores her scolding and declares she is bored and wants to meet the human next. After carefully arranging a few of his things in a corridor of the castle, Sauda finally opens his shop, though only with a small selection of items. It's his first time doing something like this, so he's cautiously hopeful that it will work out. Fafnir is the first person to stop by his shop, and she looks a bit confused as she points to a shiny object on display. He quickly explains it's a shining stone that closely resembles a famous diamond, even though it's a fake. Listening quietly, Fafnir shifts her attention to the next item, a fruit with a weird face on it. Sauda is honestly surprised that she's noticing everything in such detail. He explains that anyone who eats this fruit will have their face transformed. It's called a rotten eye banana. Just hearing that, Fafnir's expression darkens and she practically shouts at him, demanding how something like this could be useful. He flinches quickly, apologizing with a dejected look on his face. He quietly reflects that he can only access a handful of items from the first level of his store, none of which are particularly useful at the moment. As a level 1 merchant, his options are limited. To unlock stronger, more practical items, he'll need to raise his merchant level. With a sigh, he imagines how great it would be to sell high-ranking products. But for now, he's stuck with quirky, low-tier items. Just then, while Fafnir is still watching him, she senses something rapidly approaching and swiftly sidesteps. A moment later, the same demon girl from before comes flying through the air, clearly intending to jump on Fafnir, only to miss and crash directly into Sauda, sending him tumbling to the ground. Fafnir instantly yells at her again for being absolutely inappropriate. The girl, however, doesn't seem to care much about Fafnir's scolding. Still, Fafnir firmly orders her to get off Sauda first. Obeying, the demon girl casually moves away from him and finally introduces herself as Yugaruru, a member of the Demon King's combat unit. Trying to catch his breath, he also introduces himself in return. Fafnir turns to Yugaruru and demands to know what she's doing here. Yugaruru, in her usual energetic tone, replies that she heard about the shop's opening and came here to have some fun. While the two girls are talking, Sauda quietly opens the profile book and takes a quick peek at Yugaruru's information. According to the book, she's a beastman lion type known for her bright and fearless personality. She also really hates losing, and her overall traits are pretty much the exact opposite of Fafnir's more serious nature. Looking at both of them, Sauda starts to realize that there are many types of demons in this world, and most of the demon girls he has encountered so far are extremely beautiful. Suddenly, Yugaruru leans in with a mischievous smile and asks Sauda to play with her. Caught off guard, he quickly refuses, explaining that he has work to do. Yugaruru pouts, teasing that he always has time to play with Fafnir. Before Sauda can respond, Fafnir sharply cuts in, insisting, almost shouting, that she absolutely does not play with him. Still determined, Yugaruru smirks and offers something special. Soon, the three of them are standing at the training ground used by the Demon King's soldiers. Yugaruru cheerfully announces that they can stay there as long as they want. Fafnir, however, glares at her and snaps that the real problem is that she has work to do and can't waste time playing games. Meanwhile, Sauda is starting to get nervous, unsure of what exactly he's gotten himself into. Trying to reassure him, Yugaruru grins and explains the rules. She just has to touch his shoulder within 10 minutes. If he manages to escape until the timer runs out, then he wins and she'll buy everything from his shop. But if she touches him before that, she wins and he'll have to play with her whenever she wants. Sauda takes a moment to consider, then cautiously asks if he can use a special item. Yugaruru, raising an eyebrow, agrees without hesitation since he is a human and needs extra help. Fafnir is annoyed by getting ignored like this. But Yugaruru is too focused on the game to care about Fafnir's scolding and declares she's ready to begin. Feeling a bit concerned, Fafnir leans towards Sauda and quietly warns him that Yugaruru won't go easy on him. Sauda simply smiles and responds confidently that as a merchant, he can't miss this chance to sell everything and get more customers. Hearing no lie in his words, Fafnir sighs and mutters that he had better be ready because Yugaruru won't let him get away easily. Sauda admits he's not completely prepared, but he'll give it his best shot. Finally, Fafnir flips the hourglass-shaped sand timer and the match begins. Almost immediately, Yugaruru lunges forward with surprising speed. Just as her hand is about to grab Sauda's shoulder, Fafnir calls out a warning and he narrowly dodges at the last second. Skidding to a halt, Yugaruru blinks in surprise and asks if he's using an item. Lending a few meters away and catching his breath, Sauda admits he's wearing special boots that increase speed. What he doesn't mention is that he originally designed them in elementary school out of jealousy toward the fast runners in his class who always left him behind. He's already reviewed Yugaruru's profile in his magical notebook. She's no ordinary demon. Her physical abilities are outstanding, and she has a deep love for games, which fuels her confidence. But for Sauda, this is a golden opportunity. If he can win, even using a childhood invention, he might just establish his reputation as a merchant with miraculous items inside the demon castle. As he explains the boots' effects, saying they allow him to outrun anyone, Yugaruru's ears twitch in annoyance. She doesn't like the claim. He quickly adds that it's just the item's description, but she ignores him. She's already set on using her full strength. Before he can react, she dashes at him with incredible speed. Instinct kicks in and Sauda barely manages to dodge. The force behind her kick is terrifying. He's sure it would have knocked him out. She pushes harder, closing the distance in an instant. Sauda, startled, sprints away again. In his rush to escape, he loses balance and crashes straight into Fafnir. Both tumble to the ground. Fafnir immediately reacts, her voice sharp with irritation. Sauda scrambles off her, stammering apologies, but the awkward scene only fuels Yugaruru's frustration. Her expression darkens as if proximity to Fafnir is something she's unwilling to share. Getting back on his feet, Sauda tries to run again, but the boots sputter. Their magic fades. He crouches down, deciding to move carefully for lower damage. Before he can fix anything, Yugaruru catches up, tackles him to the ground, and pins him in place. Defeat settles heavily on him. He had been close, just one step away. Now with her above him, victory is clearly within her reach. Yugararu looks absolutely confident. Her presence is overwhelming, her gaze is intense. Sauda lies there unsure of her next move. She seems to enjoy the moment, drawing it out like a game she doesn't want to end. Realization dawns. He's walked into her trap. To escape, he needs a distraction. But before he can act, it's clear she already anticipates his every move. Yugararu seems to enjoy staying one step ahead, amused by his desperation. Smiling, she teases him, asking if he's ready to give up or if he still wants to keep running. Her tone is playful, but her true nature begins to surface. When she starts enjoying herself, she admits it's hard to stop. She asks again, "What will he do?" Sauda lies frozen under her weight, mind racing. None of the items he can summon now are helpful. The pressure builds until Fafnir's voice suddenly cuts through the tension, sharp and commanding. She scolds Yugararu from the sidelines, snapping her out of the moment. It's a brief pause, but enough for Sauda to refocus. He can't let it end like this. Then an odd detail catches his attention. Yugararu's voice, when excited, sounds oddly like a cat's purr. It also reminds him that lions, despite their strength, are essentially large cats. The realization offers a possible solution, an odd one, but he has no time to hesitate. When Yugararu asks again if he accepts defeat, he responds by requesting a final product demonstration. Reaching into his supplies, he pulls out the rotten eye banana and eats it. Instantly, his face contorts into something utterly ridiculous. Yugararu, caught off guard, bursts into uncontrollable laughter at the absurd sight. Taking full advantage of her distraction, Sauda brings out the fake diamond, angling its radiant gleam directly into her eyes. Temporarily blinded, Yugararu stumbles back, giving him the perfect window. He reactivates his speed-enhancing boots and dashes away without wasting a second. Still laughing, but now annoyed, Yugararu shouts after him, insisting she'll catch him again. Sauda, already creating distance, recalls something he once observed at the pet shop, that certain spots on cats, especially near the base of the tail, are incredibly sensitive. If Yugararu really shares feline traits, this trick. As Yugararu lies on the ground, her body still shaking, Sauda prepares to follow up with another technique he learned at the pet shop. But before he can act, a sharp slap hits the back of his head, jolting him back to reality. Fafnir stands behind him, her expression tense, reminding him that the time limit has already passed. Without giving him time to explain, she grabs him by the collar and yanks him to his feet, her voice rising with frustration as she scolds him for his questionable behavior. Sauda, flustered by the sudden closeness, stammers out an apology, explaining that he got too wrapped up in his customer service mindset to notice anything else. Fafnir doesn't look convinced. With a cold glare, she lets go and warns him not to repeat such actions. While Sauda is still recovering from the scolding, Yugararu gets back on her feet. Her usual grin returns as she leans toward him, her tone light but genuine. She admits she hasn't had that much fun in a long time and hopes they can do it again sometime. As the three exchange words, none of them notices someone quietly observing from a distance, their presence unreadable. Fafnir, however, seems distracted by the strange technique he used earlier. Her eyes narrow as she asks about it, clearly curious about how it worked. Sauda, feeling the weight of her gaze, quickly explains that it's something the pet shop manager once taught him. He keeps the explanation simple, hoping it's enough to avoid further questions. Sauda is sleeping peacefully when he suddenly feels something and opens his eyes to find someone sitting on top of him. He lets out a huge scream, waking up even Fafnir in the room beside him. She instantly jumps from the bed and barges into his room to check what happened. However, when she enters the room, she finds Sauda almost screaming at the person, saying that he wouldn't do anything and they shouldn't kill him. The person sitting on top of him is trying their best to calm him down. During the chaos, a lot of demons have gathered at their door while Fafnir shouts at them for making a scene at this time of night. Soon, she takes both of them into her office and asks them to explain what happened. Sauda replies that he also doesn't know the incident since he just found this person sitting on him when he woke up. The demon, a very young girl, introduces herself from the transportation unit and politely greets Sauda. He also introduces himself while thinking about how the transportation unit is kind of a cheat skill. He is still confused about why she came to his room. Fafnir silently asks Batty if she came into his room to solve that matter. Seeing Batty stutter in reply, Fafnir again says that she should explain the situation since she caused the ruckus at this time. Sauda is confused by their conversation while Fafnir asks if she wishes to become a complete succubus. He agrees with her as Sauda thinks to himself about how succubuses are known for their beauty and charm. He removes the cloth from her belly, showing a symbol while explaining how for a succubus to become a complete succubus, this symbol needs to shine. She further adds that among the succubuses living in the demon castle, she is the only one whose mark is still not shining. Sauda is a little surprised to hear that while Batty adds that it is said the mark shines when desires are fulfilled. Listening to that, Sauda asks what her desire is, to which Batty nervously replies that she wishes to kiss someone. The strange desire really surprises Sauda as he asks why she wishes to get a kiss while they are conversing. Fafnir is deeply thinking about something as Batty further explains that her fellow succubus once said something about kissing. So this is the reason. Still, Sauda doesn't understand why she chose him. Batty explains that she thought this was the only way for her to become a complete succubus. But when she couldn't find another way, she just decided to do this. A little confused, Sauda asks if it is because he is a human, to which Batty explains that she saw him with Fafnir and Ugaruru in the training ground, which made her think that he has a lot of experience in this field. Batty further explains that she thought this was the only way for her to become a complete succubus. But when she couldn't find another way, she just decided to do this. Sauda is nervous just at the mention of desire and quickly looks at Batty's profile, only to find that she is really worried about this thing. He is thinking about helping her, but he also doesn't have any experience in this kind of stuff. Just as he is thinking about what he should do, Fafnir approaches him asking if he has found any useful items from his book. She adds that she wants him to help Batty because the girl herself is embarrassed by her personality. Fafnir shares how Batty was once very cheerful, but now she is really dull, and as a captain she wants to make her smile again since she believes Sauda is the only one who can help her. He finally agrees to help Batty since he is a servant to Fafnir. Soon the three of them are sitting around the table sipping their tea as they ask Batty's opinion about kissing Sauda. She agrees to kiss him, but is worried about how this is going to work between them as she is concerned about all the other aspects. Sauda understands her worries while Fafnir thinks that she is just overthinking. Then Batty asks Fafnir how she would do it if she had to kiss him, and if she could show an example, it would be really great. Fafnir is really nervous to hear that while Sauda also instantly refuses to kiss her. Hearing his response, Fafnir almost shouts while asking if he doesn't find her attractive enough. Seeing Fafnir like that, Batty quickly apologizes for saying anything controversial. Fafnir quickly assures her it is okay, while turning toward almost forcing him to kiss her with his eyes closed. Sauda repeatedly says that he can't get close to someone as beautiful as her, pulling him closer. Fafnir whispers in his ear that they can just pretend since he already agreed to help Batty. She then tells Fafnir that they will show her and turns towards Sauda as they both nervously face each other. Just after getting a little closer to Sauda, Fafnir slaps him hard while saying that she can't do it because she has never kissed anyone. They both sit far away from each other as Batty shares how she is surprised to know that Fafnir also never experienced a kiss. Fafnir just tells her to stay quiet and says that it is her time to kiss now. Sauda is still very nervous since he can never talk to a girl properly, and if he wants to kiss a girl, he would just embarrass himself. Just then, he realizes that if he can get rid of the shame, he will be able to do it quickly. Sauda takes out his notebook and presents the shame blower, slipping into his usual customer service mode. He asks if they've ever felt too embarrassed to express their feelings, adding that this item helps remove self-consciousness and boosts confidence. Batty looks impressed by how smoothly he explains it, while Fafnir also shows interest. She raises her hand, asking if she can try it and whether it really works. Sauda hands her the spray and reads from his notebook, warning her not to overuse it. Ignoring the warning, Fafnir sprays herself. He casually adds that if someone is too nervous to begin with, the spray might make them too bold. Sitting beside her, he asks how she feels. Without hesitation, Fafnir grabs his hand and calmly says she no longer feels embarrassed being close to him. Getting closer to Sauda, she announces that she will now kiss him before the effect of the spray wears off. Still, he is feeling really nervous and tries his best to get away from her, which seems to offend Fafnir as she thinks he doesn't like doing it with her. He further adds that people say the first kiss is very special, so it would be really ruthless if she kissed someone like him. Frustrated, Fafnir shouts at him not to play with her. Batty is really surprised to see Fafnir showing emotions like that because she was always a little serious. She looks at the spray thinking if she would also be able to do this with that item. Without thinking about it, she picks up the spray and uses a large amount while Sauda tries his best to stop her. He manages to snatch the spray from her and is really worried about what would happen because Batty is naturally really bold. To his surprise, instead of getting confident, Batty suddenly bursts into tears. Both Fafnir and Sauda quickly go to comfort the demon, asking if something has happened. They try to stop her from crying, but Batty declares that she will keep crying because until now she was just holding her tears inside. Fafnir is surprised to hear that while he realizes that Batty was hiding her tears because of the shame. She states that she always wanted to work with Fafnir-sama and practice her magic. Every day she kept practicing magic even after everyone made fun of her. but she thought she needed to put in effort because of the demon world. Right now, even if she can't get a kiss, she is okay because there is no reason for her to try magic. Because in the end, she is just a succubus. She almost shouts that she was too ashamed that she even forgot she failed as a demon. Fafnir is not happy to hear her comments and says how she might be weak as a succubus, but she is a really strong person because she keeps putting effort into everything. She has managed to master teleportation magic even though she is a succubus who is considered a low-level demon, which just means that she has worked really hard. Fafnir adds that she tried harder than any other demon. And even if she thinks that she is a failure, Fafnir really admires her personality. Hearing the encouraging words, Batty has finally stopped crying as Fafnir pats her head, assuring her that she did well. Just then, Batty suddenly starts to scream again, making them worried that something is wrong. When she leans back, they are surprised to see that the mark on her belly has started shining. Sauda is really amazed to see that and realizes how all people have really different desires, and it looks like Batty's true desire has been fulfilled. Soon, she is ready to leave after thanking them for their help. Sauda replies that he is happy to be helpful, while Batty adds that she was really surprised to see such an item. Sauda tells her to call him informally, saying how he is just a mere merchant. He gets nervous when Batty suddenly calls him Oni-chan while she smiles brightly and leaves them, and they are left alone. Fafnir also praises Sauda for his help, to which he replies that for the first time he also felt he had no strength, and if he didn't have help from the items, he would never have been able to do anything. Fafnir replies that at first she also thought it was the powerful items that helped demons, but now she realizes that it is also his strength. Sauda is really surprised to hear that. Soon, Fafnir leaves the room, saying that she is still under the effect of that spray. Once he is alone, he is glad to see that his merchant level has increased. Meanwhile, in the Demon Lord's room, she is being informed about Sauda's presence and how he can bring out the special items. She orders her subordinates to bring him to her. Sauda is sitting in his room, beaming with happiness because his merchant level has suddenly increased. He notes that the liability has reached the required level, and he realizes that it means Fafnir likes him now. He had thought it was just a kind of indicator, but never imagined that it would actually impact his merchant level. When he looks at the profiles of the three demons again, he is really surprised to see that all of their lickability levels have increased. He is now happy that he will be able to please even more people. While cheering, he raises his arm and realizes how badly he has been smelling. He instantly goes to Fafnir, telling her how he needs to take a bath. Without any argument, she takes him to a nearby stream, and Sauda is really excited to see that the place is like a hot ring. Fafnir replies that they normally take a bath there. Yugararu has also joined them, and she adds that even though she doesn't like getting wet, but this place is really cool. Sauda didn't know she was also there, so Yugararu explains that she saw them walking there and decided to join them. She instantly starts to remove her clothing, saying they should get in. Shocked, Sauda quickly covers his eyes, asking why she is doing that, while Yugararu simply replies that they need to go into the stream together. Suddenly, Fafnir grabs her arm, dragging her away from there. When they are slightly away from Sauda, Yugararu instantly asks if he does not want to take a bath. Fafnir points out how they are in the presence of Sauda, but Yugararu doesn't seem to get what the problem is. Seeing Fafnir's blushing face, she asks if she is really nervous in the presence of Sauda. She keeps questioning Fafnir, thinking she must be really embarrassed to get in. And strangely, the captain of the Drajan unit could be scared of just a bath. Back at the stream, Sauda is sitting there thinking about the situation and assures himself that Fafnir will solve it. To his shock, Fafnir soon returns with Yugararu, both of them in the same situation. They even encourage him to take off his shirt because it would be unfair if he were still fully clothed. Sauda instantly rejects Yugararu's offer to help him and nervously takes off his shirt. Yugararu seems really happy in the lake, while the other two are struggling to even open their eyes properly. He doesn't understand why he got stuck in this situation, but he is happy that the water is extremely white here. Sauda doesn't understand where he should look and just decides to keep his eyes down, only to be asked if he has any interesting items for bathing when he complains. She says that both of them are just boring, so she would like to do something fun. Sauda takes out his notebook since he can now use the items from the higher ranks. He takes out a small bottle of Batty bubbles that can make magical bubbles appear in the water. Both girls are instantly hooked by this new item. Even Fafnir complains, but Yugararu ignores her. Sauda quickly covers his eyes even though he is struggling to fully keep the gaze away from them. Fafnir seems really frustrated by the situation as she shouts at Yugararu that she will never play with her again and scolds her for forcing people to do things they don't like. Just then, Sauda reads the description that these bubbles bring out people's childish behavior. At that moment, Fafnir starts crying, which puts Sauda really off guard. He quickly remembers a time when he played with his little cousin and starts making huge bubbles, which instantly makes her happy. Sauda is relieved for a moment since the item really was helpful, but just then Yugararu also starts crying, saying that she wants to play with him. Fafnir then scolds him for being a bully, while Sauda quickly rubs himself on the head with the bubbles, acting as a monster. Both the girls burst into laughter at that, while he quickly realizes that he shouldn't apply the bubbles on himself because he needs to stay an adult. Soon, both the demons start arguing about who should play with him first, while Sauda is really nervous about how he should solve the situation. Just being this close to two girls at the same time is making him nervous, and he wants them to stop. But he tries his best to stay calm because he has been in the water for a long time, and it looks like his head is spinning. He barely gathers himself when he realizes how the girls have gone quiet and notices that both of them have fallen into the water. He instantly panics, almost shouting for help. And once the issue is solved, he asks Fafnir that from now on he will bathe alone. In this world, humans and demons are always against each other, and an ordinary day for a demon looks a bit boring. As a captain, Fafnir's day starts very early as she does almost 1,000 push-ups to stay in shape. After completing her morning training, she feels really refreshed and uses Sauda Sun to feel even better and relax for a little while. Whenever she is sitting in the warmth of the sun, she never wants to move. Just as she is enjoying her day, a demon comes to her and informs her that in the eastern forest there are reports of humans hunting magical beasts. Without wasting any time, Fafnir quickly goes there and finds some humans trying to capture a magical rabbit. Raising her weapon, she sends a bolt of electricity toward the humans, who quickly stand up from the ground. Noticing that the demons have approached, they look scared but don't get a chance to escape as Fafnir captures them and ties them to a tree. Fafnir realizes that these days magical beasts have a really high price in the human realm, and the hunters must be trying to transport them alive. At first, she tells her subordinates to take the demons out of the cage, while she realizes that lately there are a lot more humans trying to barge into their lands. Looking at the humans, she realizes how they are very poorly dressed, and she can't understand why they are ready to take such a risk. Just then, she hears a noise from the side and finds a human trying to flee from the scene. She quickly shouts at her subordinates to catch him before he can disappear into the deep forest. Suddenly, the human is slammed to the ground while Yugararu makes a surprise appearance. Fafnir is relieved to see that her demon friend has saved them just in time. Yugararu happily says out loud that with the shoes she got from Sauda, no one can get away from her now. She then looks at the human, asking what they should do with them. Just then, one of the humans starts crying, begging them not to kill him because he has a family. Yugararu calmly says how he was the one who decided to come here, and now he shouldn't complain. To her surprise, Fafnir suddenly suggests that they should not kill these humans this time, as the demon lord also doesn't like killing anyone without a reason. She instead suggests that they should just drop them outside the forest. A little unhappy, Yugararu says that they would just come back, to which Fafnir replies that they might, but if they decide to return here, they wouldn't be able to leave alive. Fafnir then calls for Batty, who quickly comes forward as Fafnir tells her to transport these humans outside the forest. Batty quickly follows the instructions as Fafnir warns the humans for the last time. Once they are alone, Fafnir quickly says how Batty was able to send them out of the forest, while before this her skill was just limited. Batty also seems extremely happy as she explains that after becoming a fully fledged succubus her skills have improved. Hearing that, Fafnir starts teasing her about how it was just a few days ago when she was a crybaby. They are interrupted by a sudden growl coming from Yugararu's huge stomach, and all of them decide to go back so they can eat at the castle. Back at her office, Fafnir is working tirelessly, and after a while she finally gets some time to relax. Sniffing her arm, she realizes that she needs to put on the cream as she hadn't gotten a chance to apply it after training today. While putting the cream over her arm, she recalls how this is the first item Sauda had shown her. She keeps thinking about her encounters with Sauda and how at first she was suspicious of him. But once he showed that he wanted to help them, she started believing him. Still, she is not sure if she can take Sauda's help, even though he is always ready to extend a helping hand. When there is a knock on the door, she quickly covers herself and goes to open it, finding another woman standing there. Together, they go to Sauda's room, who is surprised to see them standing at his door. The newcomer introduces herself as Mep, the personal secretary of the Demon Lord, and relates that the Demon Lord wants to meet both Sauda and Fafnir. While they are walking, Mep advises them not to do anything foolish in front of the Demon Lord. Sauda is really nervous as he is finally going to meet the Demon Lord for the first time. Mep takes Fafnir and Sauda to the throne chamber, and upon entering, Sauda finds the Demon Lord sitting on her throne. Sauda can't handle the oppressive and dominating presence Nebura has and the pressure she is exerting. Suddenly, the Lord starts throwing up. Fafnir and Mep remind her she drank too much, but she shuts them up and chugs down bottles of alcohol. However, Fafnir introduces Sauda to Nebura, the Lord, and Sauda, through the guidebook, finds out that this woman is an alcoholic. Nebura apologizes for the unpleasant sight. She mentions how she came to know about Sauda and his special items. Sauda thanks her for the comfortable living standard he's enjoying, while she says that she would love to see some of them in person as well. Sauda agrees as he opens his book. He brings out some weird items. There's also a weird fruit that Nebura starts enjoying with the alcohol, making Fafnir go crazy over Sauda. Sauda thinks Nebura is so ridiculous, he cannot keep up. He is amazed to see the strength of the demon lord. Nebura tells him he has got some interesting stuff that she has never seen in 1,000 years, asking if he does not think it would be strange if a strange man appears out of nowhere and starts pulling out strange items out of thin air. She smiles and asks him about his origin, and he realizes that she pre-planned all the conversation to get information out of him. He tries to say that he is from the south, but the collar around his neck starts to activate, making him realize he cannot lie. He knows that the demons are looking for the summoned hero, which means if he explains his origin, he might get killed. The demon lord asks him if he has something he does not want to say, and he says yes, since he knows he will most likely be eliminated if he reveals his origin. He says he has a proposal for the demon lord and stands up, asking if she will make a wager with him. Suddenly, he summons a huge cube with a lot of dots around it. He tells the demon lord that it's a game in which feats are supposed to be on the designated colors. It doesn't matter if it's on the ground or the air, as this game is the battle of balance. This is something he saw once on TV. He tells the demon lord that if she wins the bet, he will give her any item she wants, but if he wins, he will not give her anything. Fafnir becomes extremely shocked to hear this, while Sauda remains confident. Nebura thinks for a moment and then starts to laugh as she stands up, saying that Sauda is exactly like someone she knows since he made a bet with her. She accepts his challenge with a smile and says that they should begin as soon as possible. Nebura then makes an announcement. She tells Fafnir to play on her behalf, saying that it's only natural that her subject, who is Fafnir, will play for her while she will be drinking and cheering her up, making Sauda lose his mind. Fafnir is pissed off. She tells Sauda that she won't be holding back on him. The rules are simple. The item randomly selects colors and limbs, and players must place the correct hand or foot on the chosen color. If any hand or foot leaves the designated spot, that player loses. No pushing, blocking, or attacking is allowed, and the winner is whoever follows the item's commands the best. The game starts, and the system tells Fafnir to start moving randomly. Fafnir follows the system while Sauda starts acting like a creep as this simp starts staring at her body from all angles, thinking it's too simulating and that he never thought this would be a part of the game. And Fafnir asks what he is looking at, so he immediately turns his face away, thinking he cannot afford to be distracted. The game continues, and it reaches a point where Nebura starts to think that Sauda might not be able to make it. Sauda smiles, and all of a sudden, he moves like a freaking spider as he gets on all 4 of his limbs, surprising everyone else. Since he knew he had a plan, he offered the game with so much confidence. Sauda starts speaking and bragging about his goofy-ass pose, while Fafnir starts to think how she has been caught off guard since this bastard had a plan all along. However, she is not willing to let it end like this as she gets focused, lifts her leg, and does the impossible, surprising Sauda. The next second, Sauda realizes that his face is way too close to Fafnir's breast. The breasts are shoving into his mouth, and seeing this, Nebura teases Fafnir, saying that Sauda is trying to lick her melons, making her go crazy. The next second, something surprising happens as Fafnir loses balance and goes on 2. Sauda and Fafnir have to hold their positions for the sake of the game, even though Sauda cannot breathe. Fafnir starts to enjoy this shit while the system tells Sauda to change position, so he immediately does it, thinking he is finally saved, while Fafnir looks at him with a lustful gaze, asking what the hell he even thinks he is doing. The rules change mid-game. The one who escapes the box wins. A special circle was touched, and the rules have been changed for that. Sauda got carried away and made it so there are no real limits, so the game can do crazy stuff. All of a sudden, weird tentacle-like things start to come out of special circles. They are spread out randomly since the participants touch the special circle, and Fafnir is pissed off since Sauda never mentioned this kind of shit. The next second, Fafnir gets wrapped around by the tentacles, making her go crazy. Right after that, Sauda also gets tied up, and all of a sudden they both stick against each other face to face. Fafnir shouts at Sauda while he says he can't help it. Nebura cannot believe this. She starts laughing like a maniac, while Fafnir and Sauda struggle to keep their calm. Sauda knows that he must get out of here, but the problem is he cannot think about anything other than Fafnir's melons. All of a sudden, he starts thinking of the yoga instructor skill, and the next second this nigga starts meditation as he closes his eyes, leaving Fafnir completely puzzled. Sauda tells Fafnir to close her eyes and take deep breaths. Fafnir refuses to believe this shit, but as she finds the tentacles easing around Sauda, she decides to take things into her hands. She tries using her brute force, but Sauda tells her that she has to give up her worldly desires and try meditation. Without any option left, Fafnir listens to him and also starts meditation and becomes surprised to see the tentacles easing around her the very next second. After the tentacles release them completely, Fafnir asks him if he knew that struggling would only make the tentacles tight. He says yes, and she starts to think that Sauda would have escaped on his own. Fafnir mentions that she was playing on behalf of the demon lord, yet he helped her. She asks if he really pities her that much, and he starts to think how, when he saw her struggling, he could not hold back without helping her or leaving her alone. Fafnir becomes impressed. She looks at him and gives her hand to him, saying that they have to get out. Sauda grabs her hand, and the next second both of them exit the strange box, while the demon lord smiles at Sauda, thinking that this merchant guy is pretty interesting.